Welcome back to the channel. It's been a bit, but we're back at it. Walking around Toronto at 6 a.m. Because I want to start off a new series on this channel where I take you around to some of my favorite photo spots in the city, vlog style, just hanging out with the main camera here. Got the Sony A7IV to shoot some street photography with and show you all the cool spots in the city. I've been shooting street photography now for about 4 years in Toronto, and I've pretty much seen it all. I've walked this city way more times than I care to admit. We're gonna keep these videos more street photography oriented, showing you the cool spots. And at the moment, we are kicking things off at the St. Lawrence Market. You can see that behind me. This is the little alleyway on the west side of the building, if you're familiar with the city. There are tons of little hidden gems around the city that are very underrated. And I think that I want to highlight that with this little mini series. So these videos, I don't intend on being very long, and we can have some fun with them. So if there's any locations you want to see, comment down below. But the first stop is going to be the St. Lawrence Market. So let's head on over to photo spot number 1, and then I can show you what we want to do here. Okay, so photo location number 1 is right behind me, and the St. Lawrence Market here, right along this road, leads to a very cool photo with some leading lines. So we're gonna go ahead and capture that, and all you're literally gonna do is walk right onto the street. And the cool thing to do is to wait for somebody to walk into frame, so you have a little bit more purpose behind the shot. So if you get someone crossing the street, that's a lot of fun. But obviously it is a Friday morning before anybody's really commuting yet. So you're not really gonna get the shots that maybe would be possible on a weekend or something along those lines. So we are going to probably settle for just something like this right now. So the next cool spot, if you see behind me, we've got the Gooderham building right over here, which is probably the best, most aesthetic building in Toronto. And to be honest, I've shot that building millions of times at this point. But every time I do, I'm always pleasantly surprised with a new sort of angle or cool shot. But if you've seen one of my shorts recently, you'll have known that I came here for a different video, which is out in front of me here. You have a curb leading up to the Gooderham building, and it leads to a really cool photo, again, using those leading lines to our advantage. So if you get down nice and low, you can get a pretty cool shot of the building. We're a little too close for the shot that I actually want, so we're gonna back up just a little bit, make sure you can get a little bit more depth. One thing that I really love to do with my street photography is shoot at 35 mil or 50 mil. 24 gets a little bit wonky, and 28 is still a little bit too wide for me. So I try to keep things around 35, just because I really like that extra compression. And let's see what happens. So you can see where I'm going, right on the road here. Be safe, obviously, when you're shooting street photography. So we are gonna head on over to another spot, which has the CN Tower in frame along the way to the financial district. And I'll show you what you're able to capture there. Again, it's another one with leading lines. One thing about my photography is I definitely use those, probably too much. Okay, so I've put the pocket down now just on the ground quickly, because right behind me is the CN Tower. And what I really like to do is walk out into this sort of leading line of the sidewalk and the street here. And if you shoot this at, 50 to 70 millimeters, you get a cool shot of the CN Tower just being partially blocked by the condo building. And what's really neat is just getting that extra compression of the building. Of course, with this roadway right beside me, you can actually get that leading lines shot that I was talking about. Okay, so you see the leading lines right in front of me. We obviously have the roads painted on the ground. Now, what's really cool about this shot is you can get a lot of people walking in frame if you're here at a busy time. I have some cool shots of like Porsches driving and whatever. And if you get nice and low, really all the way down to the ground, you get some really cool shots depending on how you frame it up with the road painted on the ground. We're not really gonna get that today just because the light's not there. If you notice, perfectly blue sky day, not a cloud in sight, the lighting's not so dynamic. So the shot that I would usually get at this location is with sunset. The sunset's right behind the CN Tower if you get here at a good time, and it is stunning, the shots that I've been able to capture here in the photo shoots. There's obviously someone with a leaf blower Sorry about that. Okay, so we're now walking into the financial district, and as you can see, the light is crazy right now behind me with that backlight. Try to cover up the sun there. But there's just so much construction going on lately in the city. Makes things hard for photographers or just creators in general, because you got to manage that. As you can see, all the way up Yonge Street, it's pretty much pylons. We have now made it to King Street though, which obviously this is the main photo location for pretty much everything in the financial district. At some point, you're gonna come to King Street. And at this spot specifically, which is King and Yonge, there's a few lookup shots that you can take advantage of here. Main one right up here, you have the Sleep Country right in front of us. So we're just gonna head on over to 24 mil, and you can get a pretty neat shot of a building right in front of us. Get some detail elements too, if you really wanted. But the main shots here are street photography pure. Obviously on King Street, there's 2 streetcars that go east and west. So there's a lot of people passing by for the commute and things like that. The main one that's really cool though, is if you're able to grab a shot of the pillars of the Sleep Country here, you can get some of the people there just being framed up within the buildings themselves. So we're gonna give that one a shot and see if we can get it. Okay, so now behind me is where the streetcars run, and you can't come to the financial district without getting some streetcar shots. So we're gonna wait for one of them to pass by. We've got the backlight still coming up on the east because the sun's coming up. So once this streetcar here to my left passes, there's a red light. I'm gonna hop on into the street, see if I can get a shot using the train track to tee up the streetcar. So you can get nice and low as well. And this is kind of cool. You got like a car blocking it. So we got another cool shot behind me. Scotiabank building right here. Now, fortunately, there's a Toyota RAV4 blocking the way, which that happens with street photography. You're just gonna have to come back at some points. But you can get a very cool shot of this archway. And I've done a few photo shoots here. A lot of people will do photo shoots here using this arch, especially with the morning light. It's just a really special spot to get cool lifestyle photos and images. There's some cool lookup shots here as well across the street. So I'm gonna take one of those photos for you and show you what that looks like so you can take advantage of it. You see the flower pots behind me. If you go up to the flower pots here, you can walk up and get a very cool shot of the buildings. Wow, I've not seen the light like this in the city in a very long time. Actually really nice morning if you're doing lifestyle photos. Okay, so off into the distance, we've got Old City Hall. And as you can see, the most iconic photo in the city probably, which isn't the CN Tower, is this leading line, which is the road line up to Old City Hall. And if you're able to capture that with someone walking into frame or maybe a car, that looks really cool. It is literally the most rewarding photo when executed correctly. It's been done hundreds of times at this point though, so it's a little bit of a cliche. I'm gonna put up one of my old photos of it because it is a hard one to get, especially when I got this second camera and I don't really want this pocket getting swiped on me while I'm here. It's a bit busier. So I'll show you what that looks like in the rain. I literally have this one printed. I'm working on a print with this one actually because it is probably one of my favorite shots that I've taken at this location. And directly across the street from that, you're then just gonna cross over onto the west side of Bay and walk along TD Towers. Wow. Every time I come into the city and I'm at TD Towers, I'm just like, man, like, this is the coolest thing we got. but I've done it so many times at this point. Regardless, this part of TD Towers here is a very cool composition if you come on over and come perfectly symmetric with the actual line of the building. So I'll show you what I mean with that. Let's see if I can put this here and turn it in this direction. So guys, how do we like the Osmo Pocket, by the way? I'm loving this. I mean, it looks better than it maybe does on camera. I've yet to review the footage. This is the first time I'm running gunning like this. Hold that thought. Let's take this photo first. Normally this shot's taken at a 16 to 35. So I'm actually gonna take out my, because we can use the phone lens for this. And I'll show you what I mean with this. Yeah, the wide on the phone is just so much better. So obviously a lot of you guys are probably doing photography with your phones these days, not really with the camera. I obviously have a camera because I do professional photography. But if you're here running, gunning with your phone, looking for some cool photos, wide on this, shot on the back, and then we're gonna take it around the corner for the next one. We've made it into the center of TD Towers now, literally the most photographed location in the city, and horrendously. We gotta talk about this because this shot here used to have the CN Tower in frame, and now they've got a beautiful building blocking it. Ruined the best photo location in the city, in my opinion. I have one photo here of the windows reflecting the CN Tower in it. Such a cool photo, and it's nuts to me that it doesn't exist anymore. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, wow, did I not get lucky? Okay, so we're gonna walk very far away from the Osmo Pocket. You wanna walk in to the middle of the square here. You're gonna get a cool lookup shot. Probably the coolest lookup shot in the city. There's cool ones, like architecturally sound. This is the most like Instagram friendly lookup shot that you can get. So there is a flagpole in the middle of the expanse here, and I'm gonna put you guys down there. If you walk over this way and walk right over to the flagpole, get your camera on wide, you get literally the best photo ever. So cool, right? Millions of times on Instagram, that photo has been taken. But that is really the general idea of it. Obviously, you can take different compositions here, get super creative with the details of the buildings, and just getting more compression, leading lines, subframing elements, the pillars. These pillars here, you can put some subjects in between. A lot of people take wedding photos here as well. If you are a tourist, it's a cool location for that. The light here is really soft because it's blocked obviously by the skyscrapers. So you can come here in the middle of the day and not have to worry too much. So yeah, lots of options. There's one more cool main photo spot here that we're gonna take a look at just around the corner. And then I think we're gonna cap the video off here because it's already 7:15 and there's some work I gotta get done today. Like I said, I want to keep these just informal, little run and gun, little adventures, photography walkthrough videos. So let's go grab that one shot. This location with a wide angle lens is like significantly better. If you have like a 16-35 or the new 16-28, I think that Sony released, highly recommend it if you're visiting the city. Otherwise, your iPhone with RAW is going to have to do. But I'm just looking up at the location. As you can see, there is a bridge connecting the two buildings that you can take a very cool photo of. So if you are at this location, there's this sort of cement thing right here. It's like a barrier, I guess. And if you come all the way to the edge, you do have to get on it for the shot, but they usually kick people out for it. So you can kind of sneak it like this, getting the photo. This shot is particularly cool with some moody lighting. Getting that cloud, diffuse light, rain, reflection, all the buzzwords, you get a very cool shot here. So, and then of course, like some of my favorite things to do in this location as well is to grab photos just upwards of the building. So I'll show you what I mean by that. You get some really cool ones, all the same. And behind me as well is RBC. That's the RBC building. It's actually gold-plated windows. The last time I took photos there, they actually asked me to delete my photos. They don't let you use a professional camera to take your photos, but if you use your iPhone, they have no problem with it. So very strange rule because I'm gonna do the things I'm gonna do with the phone and the camera anyway. And at this point, they're both really high quality, so I don't really get the problem. Okay, for the final part of today's video, we are going to do a little bit. So for the final part of today's video, we're gonna do a little bit of street photography on our walk back, figuring out what we can get, getting creative, seeing what's around, and keep it a little bit more POV style, so showing the back of my camera as we're capturing things. I think that's the move. We gotta backtrack to the car anyway, maybe about a 15 to 20 minute walk. Okay, we're back at the starting point. So with that, we're gonna head on over and get some coffee, call it a day. I gotta get back to my office and get some work done. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it's a little bit more unconventional than probably what you're used to seeing, but hope you enjoyed today's video. Expect more to come, expect more photography to come. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.